Welcome to another episode of the Mad Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Begley, Goni, and Wayne.
What's up, Mad Mob? Welcome to the Mad Fantasy Football Podcast. Wayne Beggs, Goni here. How's it going, boys?
Wonderful. I found the recline feature on my chair, so I might fall asleep during this one.
Comfort is always good. You guys gonna watch the Pro Bowl this weekend?
No.
Absolutely,
Not
dude.
a
The
single
Pro Bowl
second
games
of
are goaty. You don't like the games, like the little challenges they do?
They still do that?
Yeah, that's what it's called, the Pro Bowl games. They got their little flag football game that they're going to do, but they're going to be doing like the challenges and stuff.
I didn't know that, man. I used to watch that growing up. Do you guys remember when the quarterbacks had the accuracy challenges and stuff? That was fire.
Way back, yeah.
I'm pretty sure
That's
they're just like making that the primary thing now.
They should.
That's the last time I watched. I haven't watched the Pro Bowl in years, and I know they're trying to hype up this Peyton versus Eli, AFC, NFC showdown kind of thing. So we'll get some flag football in there. It'll be football, I guess. It'll be some form of football.
Yeah. The NBA needs to go to that, man. We don't want to see 150 to 140 All-Star games.
Yeah, no defense.
Skill
just,
challenges
straight
and
guns.
yeah.
It is what it is. Well, Mad Mob, today we're going to do our review on our 2022 quarterback consensus rankings. We're going to see what we hit on, what we missed. We're going to play a little game as well as we get into it. But first, a couple news and notes from around the league. We got the Texans hiring DeMeco Ryans as their head coach. How do you guys feel about it?
Alma mater. That's their guy.
Second round out of Alabama, Pro Bowler. He did great with the 49ers defense. He had the fewest points allowed, fewest yards per game this year, second for most takeaways with 30. I think that's just what they need as far as from a coaching standpoint. They obviously need all kinds of talent. Hopefully they bring that on in the draft. They need all the help they can get there.
Yeah, kind of. Honestly, I thought they'd go an offensive guy because they're going to go quarterback in the draft. I thought they'd pair him with an offensive coach, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Couldn't hurt. I couldn't even tell you who the longest tenured Texans coach is, or like how long that would be. Has anyone made it over 5 years? Do you think? Bill O'Brien. Yeah.
That's the guy.
Which is terrible because he sucked. He was awful. Speaking of which, Lucky Patriots just got him back as an offensive coordinator. That might be okay because he's not making GM moves for us. But it is what it is.
Do we really trust a 49ers defensive coordinator as a head coach? Because, I feel like with the talent that was on that defense, I probably could have coached them to a top 5 finish.
Also true.
It's probably true.
Also true.
That's just me being devil's advocate about the situation.
Quick little trivia. Who has more black coaches in the history of the franchise than the Houston Texans? Are they the league leaders in diversity? Romeo Crennel. They had Lovie Smith twice, DeMeco Ryans, and they had another one. Remember who it was?
Bucks.
That might be true.
Shout out to the Texans, man.
Bucks, man.
Yeah.
Bucks had the first all-black coaching staff. We've
The
had
Bucks
Tony
are
Dungy.
close.
We've had Lovie Smith. Got Todd Bowles now.
Yeah, you're close.
We just replaced Byron Leftwich with another black offensive coordinator.
Fair enough.
We love diversity in Tampa.
Fair enough.
I don't like the hire. It obviously has nothing to do with that. It's a weird hire.
Whoa.
Speaking
what?
of the Pro Bowl, one time I just got something to add to it as well. Did you guys see that Tyler Huntley was added to the Pro Bowl roster with a 2-touchdown season, replacing Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Herbert, I believe it was.
Was it a fan vote?
It wasn't a fan vote. Literally everyone's dropping out. Burrow's skipping the Pro Bowl. I don't know how it came down to Tyler Huntley. He's got the least amount of touchdowns of any quarterback ever since the merger with 2. The next highest was 6 in 1975. And just someone for our era that made it with minimal touchdowns, Vince Young made it in 2009 with 10. But how you make it with 2 touchdowns is beyond me. He didn't look good at all.
Nobody cares anymore, man.
They're just looking for, hey, man, do you have a body? Did you take some snaps at the quarterback position this year? Come on, we need you. We need you.
How much financial incentive do these guys get for the Pro Bowl? Do y'all know?
It probably has to be worked in, but I'm sure probably like $500,000, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Sounds
Fair.
about right.
Fair.
Wayne, how you feel about Tom Brady? Tom Brady retiring? Is it officially official?
It was time.
1 year to the day, to the exact day that he retired last year. But I think this time it's for good.
Dallas, man.
It's time. He didn't play as bad as like everybody wanted to make it sound, but he definitely was not good. He wasn't the caliber that we're used to. I still think he was 10 to 15 quarterback all year.
That remains to be seen. He will be in our consensus ranking review. Our last thing to hit, however, before we get into it, probably the biggest one. It might break Beg's heart. It is the Broncos reaching a deal with Sean Payton and the Saints. The Broncos will send their 2023 first-round pick and their 24 second to the Broncos in exchange for Payton and a third-round pick. What does this do for you guys as far as the offense goes in the Broncos next year?
I think the Broncos are going to be a little overhyped next year.
More overhyped than this year?
Wow. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a good question. I think people like Jerry Jeudy, they're going to go a little too high in fantasy drafts. I think I'm probably going to miss out on Jerry Jeudy a lot this year.
Wayne?
I don't think the Broncos could ever be any more hyped than they were this past offseason.
Let's ride.
I think everybody's kind of got a rejuvenated confidence in them, but Sean Payton's not going to be tossing the rock. The only upside is whenever they fired their head coach, Russell Wilson was playing exponentially better. So I mean that's the only thing you got to look at there. We'll see. I'm done. I put way too much hype on him. I'm still putting him at third. My way too early rankings, I'm putting him at third in their division, which is honestly probably
It might be fourth. Again.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with the Raiders, but the Chargers and the Chiefs, I think, are still going to be we'll see. We'll see. It is way too early rankings, but exciting hire for them. Good times. Glad he found a spot. Mad Mob, we're going to jump into our 2022 quarterback consensus rankings. We're going to play a game. We're going to use golf scoring, so the lowest score will be crowned the victor of the quarterback position. We're going to list all 12 of our guys that we had in the top 12 last year at the quarterback spots. However far off one of us was, I have the individual rankings. You will gain points for each spot that you are wrong. Whoever has the most points will obviously be in last. Whoever has the least amount of points will be in first. It's going to be interesting. That's how we're competitive around here. This is how we're going to crown each position grouping champion of 2022. We know that Wayne was the Doink King of 2022. Beggs and I are trying to hop in the saddle here and take a victory lap or two.
I'm going to just hop in here and say I'm going to do a little free self-advertising.
Yeah.
We're competitive, but we want to be right. So, we're going to take our lumps where we're wrong, and we'll improve.
Yeah. Accountability is huge.
If that's the thing, Mad Mob, is we're going to be as accurate as humanly possible, because accuracy means we get to doink and just make fun of the other two.
Big facts.
So this ain't just a willy-nilly, let's just throw a podcast out here. Goni and I will argue over whether a number 2 or number 3 pencil is better, and we'll argue to the death.
To the death.
We just... Huh?
It's in our nature. in our
Are there
friendship.
number 3 pencils out there?
I don't know. I was just trying to
Wayne
make
would argue yes. I would argue not.
I'm 100% sure that the Earth is round, but if Goni came at me with an annoying confidence that the Earth was round, I will find every just speck of evidence that might say the Earth is flat and
Yeah,
ride it till I die.
That's the realest statement he's ever made as well. Jumping in. Our consensus number 1 for 2022 was Josh Allen. He finished as the quarterback 2 on the season. His ADP was 14, which was good for second round. His ADP was also the first quarterback off the board. He finished with 4,316 yards, 35 touchdowns, and added another 776 and 7 touchdowns this year. First time finishing as the quarterback 2 over the last 3 seasons. He was the quarterback king the last 2 years. Third straight year over 40 touchdowns. The man was a monster. He had a chance also to finish as the QB1 behind Mahomes. He finished 25 points less than him, but he also missed a game. We had the Damar Hamlin scare, and so he missed out on a game. The man was absolutely great. 12 top 6 finishes. He had 8 top 3 finishes, finishing as the QB1 once. Only 3 bust games outside the top 12. But we also saw his turnovers take a little spike this year, especially in the red zone. All of us ranked him as our number 1 guy. It was consensus across the board. So we will each gain a point for that, for him finishing at the number 2 spot. Boys, how do you feel about Josh Allen this year? And how do you feel about him going forward?
I mean,
It was weird. Like, it felt like a down year for Josh Allen.
did.
And still is
really
the number
did.
2, but he's still the guy. Superflex number 1. Ride Josh Allen. He'll be my number 1 next year too.
Yeah, he's the dude. Now, have you guys seen the reports that Stephon Diggs is a little upset? Not happy.
Why?
He didn't get the ball enough in the playoff game. He apparently there's some discontent there. That was the report I saw.
We saw them on the sidelines. Diggs obviously wasn't happy. He kind of had a downswing over the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 games as a Stephon Diggs manager. I mean, I had him, and he really did not show up for the end of the season nor the playoffs for fantasy. So you don't get much better than Josh Allen throwing you the ball, though.
Well, let me ask you this. If Diggs leaves Buffalo, is Allen still your number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He'd
don't
take a
think
little
he'd
hit
be
for
mine.
me.
I don't think he'd be my 1.
He'd take a hit for me.
Yeah.
But they'd smooth it over. They'd find a way. They put an elite number 1 wide receiver with him, and it absolutely exploded him on an upward trajectory for his career. Made him a superstar. I think they get things right there.
Okay.
Number 2, Justin Herbert. We each ranked him as the consensus number 2 going into the season. This man finished as the QB 11. His ADP was the QB 2. It was kind of chalky for us. That'll be 9 points for each of us on that one. It was a very underwhelming season out of him. The yards were there. He finished with 47-39. He had 25 touchdowns though, which was down. It's down for him, honestly. He only had 4 top 6 finishes, but he had 7 games as the quarterback 18 or worse. Only 1 top 3 finish. I kind of chalk this up to he didn't have his full cast of characters. There was a lot of games where he didn't have Keenan Allen. There was some games he didn't have Mike Williams, and there were a handful of games where he didn't have either of them. And he's thrown to Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Not to mention he got his midsection rent in the middle of the season, so he was dealing with that for a couple of weeks. I don't think I'd put him up to my 2 next year, but I'm definitely not going to fade him like that.
I mean, he had a rib bone poking his appendix every time he threw the ball, but I think the addition of Kellen Moore actually helps him. I'm not a huge Kellen Moore guy, but he's better than what he had this year. Plus, their offensive line was horrible. They're rated near the bottom half of the league. It's got to improve.
Yeah, I think Rashawn Slater, their stud tackle, got hurt early on in the year. Um, I mean, that's big. That's big. The offense also, just as a whole, I don't know if you guys knew this, but he actually had the lowest average depth of target in the league, which kind of makes sense with Eckler catching 90 to 100 footballs this year. I think that changes next year.
It
Like you
does.
said, with Kellen Moore, I like it as well. I like it for the offense. The yards are there. The touchdowns just weren't. So, I mean, I think he has a better year next year. QB1's all around still next year, right?
Yeah.
A QB1, not the QB1. Okay. Number 3 for us coming into the season, Patrick Mahomes. This is where things get a little bit of a shakeup. Wayne had him as the QB3. Beggs had him as the QB6, and I had him as the QB3. He finished as the QB1. His ADP, he was coming off the board as the quarterback 2 this year. I'm sorry, he was coming off the board as the quarterback 3 this year. 5,250 yards passing, 41 touchdowns. It was the most passing yards of his career, second most touchdowns behind his MVP season. He was just Mr. Consistent, man. He had 8 games of 25 points or more, 12 as the QB6, 4 as the QB2, and 1 top finish. Only 1 game outside the top 12. What do we have to say about Patrick Mahomes here? His first season without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I think I should speak up here on this one. I faded him a lot more than you all did. I was just scared of him losing Tyreek. I thought it was going to affect him a lot more than what it did. Plus, it didn't hurt that his defense was atrocious all year. So they were in high-scoring games a lot of the year. That helps. But yeah, swing and a miss for me on this one.
Yeah, I kind of faded him to the 3, and I consider that a fade as well for Pat Mahomes, because traditionally he kind of starts slow, and he came out guns blazing this season.
He came out guns blazing, and he just never stopped, ever. And, I mean, for him to put up the most passing yards of his career with the MVS and a little bit of Kadarius Toney and just some of the guys that he had there. I mean, Kelsey, Kelsey's going to get his, but he threw for over 5,000 yards with what felt like scraps. I mean, he brought in MVS. Yeah, man. I don't know. He's just extra good. He's phenomenal. And really, as being, one of the more kind of pocket passers in the league, for him to finish as a QB1, it was a special season. Usually just doesn't happen. I faded him back to the 3 also because his last couple of years before this, he was more of like a QB4-ish. So thought he was going to follow that trend. Number 4 gets a little spicy here. Our consensus was Tom Brady at the number 4. Wayne had him at 7. Beggs had him at 5, and I had him at 4. He finished as the QB 12. His ADP had him coming out as the QB 14. So we all had him ranked higher than his ADP. He finished a little higher than his ADP. It wasn't a great season for him, as we all know. It's his lowest point total since 2019, his last season with the Patriots. He did set the NFL record for completions and pass attempts, but that doesn't get you anything in fantasy.
He was
You don't get
QB
any
12,
points.
though? 12?
I'm sorry?
QB 12?
QB 12, TB 12.
Okay.
Yep, he finished as the QB 12. He finished with 46.94 as far as yards, 25 touchdowns. He gave you 2 top 6 finishes, including the number 1 overall quarterback in the Super Bowl, the fantasy Super Bowl, if you were brave enough to play him. But, I mean, aside from that, he had 12 games outside the top 12. He cleared 20 points twice all season. It's rough. It's rough. Wayne, that's your team. I would ask if this is the beginning of the end, but the man retired. We don't see him coming back. I don't really know how much there is to say on this. What do you guys got anything for this bad season of Brady? Is it him getting old, or what is it here?
It's the fact he retired, and then the Bucs went into rebuild mode and got rid of 2 of our best linemen, and then he was like, "I'm back," and he had to play against a patchwork line. and he's just not. He's a pocket passer. He needs to be protected. He was under duress a lot. He had a lot of personal issues going on. Obviously, we saw him lose 15 pounds when he was gone. Came back looking like skin and bones. Football has always been at the top of that man's list, and it felt like it was just kind of a secondary thing to him this year, and it showed.
Yeah, I mean, Giselle had his stones in her purse, man. Any man would have a hard time going through that before the season starts.
It's a rough one. I think it'll be the end. I just don't really want to see like a Brett Favre, kind of thing going on. Even though he is playing better than Brett Favre did when he started, waffling and retiring every year. So,
I think
heck of a career for him. I think he's done as well. Number 5, Jalen Hurts, boys. Wayne had him ranked at the number 4 spot. Beggs had him at number 7. I had him at number 6. He finished as the QB3 this year. His ADP had him in the 5th round as the QB7 coming off the board. We saw a breakout fantasy season for Hurts. He added A.J. Brown. Eagles added A.J. Brown, elite weapon, took a step forward with the passing. We all raved about, what he could do with his legs all off season. We wanted to see it more with the arm. He finished with 3,701 yards, 22 touchdowns, added another 760 on the ground, and a career-high 13 touchdowns. Led the Eagles to a 14-3 record, number 1 seed, 12 games inside the top 6, 8 in the top 3, QB1 twice. And he really only finished outside the top 12 2 times. So, is this his average, boys? Is this his average? Is this a breakout, a flash in the pan, or should we expect more of this coming in the future?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. With Philly's offensive line, with those receiving weapons, if they stick together, I don't know how he doesn't have another top 5 performance this year. Plus, he gets 3 quarterback sneak touchdowns a game. How do you argue against that, Wayne?
You can't. Sky's the limit for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard to. There's going to be deep thought in whether or not he should be in my number 1 spot next year. He was the number 4, and he missed games.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. His legs are obviously a weapon. His QB sneak is unstoppable. That's like the go-to play. It's as sure a thing as when Tom Brady was doing it years ago, except this man is a lot more mobile. One thing that I thought crazy when I was going through was he had a game, his best game of the season. He threw for 0 touchdowns, and he was the QB1 with 36.7 points in Week 15 in your playoffs. He scored 3 rushing touchdowns. He put up a lot of yardage, but there's maybe one other guy, being maybe Lamar Jackson, who can give you a QB1 finish with 0 passing touchdowns on the season. I look forward to more good things out of him in the future, boys.
Yeah.
Number 6 on our consensus list coming into 2022, we had Joe Burrow. Wayne kind of faded him down to number 9. Beggs had him at number 4. I had him at number 5. He finished as the QB4. Beggs hit it right on the head. His ADP had him going in the 3rd round as the 4th quarterback off the board. Beggs being, I believe, the first one to hit one right on the head, man. How'd you feel about his season?
I needed it. I was pretty down in the ranks before this one. I was high on Burrow, man. I was high on him last year. It's a guy when he came out of LSU. He's got the juice, man. He's a dog. I was high on T. Higgins. It kind of showed in the rest of my rankings, but since he's here to stay, man, they're going to be a powerhouse in the AFC, I think, for a decade. Burrow's going to be a top 5 lock for me, I think, for the foreseeable future.
Wayne, how do you feel about him next year? You had him down at 9 coming into the season. He finished as a QB4. He had a great season. What does it look like for you going forward here in the future?
Yeah, I think he's a top 5 guy. I faded him so hard because I wasn't confident in their offensive line to protect him. And we learned this year that it just doesn't matter. I mean, he's good. He gets sacked 37 times a game, but still manages to just rack up the points. I've learned my lesson. Joe Burrow being on his back half of the game can still put up solid fantasy numbers for you.
Yeah, especially for a pocket quarterback. He had over 4,500 yards passing this year, 36 touchdowns. One thing I thought was kind of cool, he actually almost doubled his rushing attempts from 40 last year to 76, scoring 5 touchdowns on the ground. He could have been ranked a little higher as well. He's in the same boat with Josh Allen on missing that one game. He was very consistent this year. He had 3 QB1 finishes, 7 games in the top 6, and he had only 5. I mean, outside the top 12, that's not bad. He was without Jamar Chase from weeks 8 through 12. He was the QB 22. Yeah, I mean, it's a top weapon in the league, but he was the QB 22, the QB 7, had a bye week, QB 1, and QB 14 in those weeks. So he still kind of got it done for you. The Bengals already have publicly said that they're going to be looking at his next contract this offseason. He's the biggest priority. Does he get top money? And also, will T. Higgins get another contract with the Bengals? This next season coming up will be his final season. Is there enough money on the table, boys?
Nope.
T is gone, but Burrow's gonna get $750 million.
Is it gonna be one of them baseball contract 12 or 13-year Jimmys?
Yeah, it'll probably be like Mahomes. Mahomes got the 10-5 deal. It'll be something similar.
Yeah, T's going to go get number 1 money somewhere.
Yeah, as he should.
I know we have one more year of T, but do you have a preferred landing spot for him?
Chargers. Chargers, 100%. Keenan Allen will be phasing out. Mike Williams is getting older. I think the Chargers could really use that. Pair a young receiver with a young quarterback.
Give me Houston or Carolina. They're going to have cap space and a young quarterback.
I love all those, honestly. I think those are great. I don't think he would go to a team like the Ravens as a division rival. I'm sure enough money would, but Chargers would absolutely be phenomenal. And those other guys, imagine pairing DJ Moore with T. Higgins. It might inspire a little confidence for once in Carolina.
Yeah.
Number 7, Lamar Jackson. Wayne had him at number 5 coming into the season. Beggs had him at number 3. And I faded him down to 11. And it was solely due to injury. He finished as the QB 14 this year. His ADP was coming out of the 4th round as the QB 5 off the board. As of right now, he's expected to receive the franchise tag this offseason. The sides haven't come to a deal. He missed a whole lot of games, but he still finished with 2,200 plus passing yards, 17 touchdowns. He added another 764 on the ground with 3 touchdowns. He was on fire to open the season up. He had back-to-back quarterback 1 finishes in weeks 2 and 3, dropping over 40 points. And then he kind of fell off the next month. QB 19, QB 15, QB 11, QB 22. 5 of his 12 games were outside the top 12. No other games besides those QB1 finishes inside the top 6. So it's a second season in a row that he's missed 5 games. For the games he did play, he had the highest scoring average amongst quarterbacks. So what do we believe about Lamar Jackson going forward? Do the Ravens go out, get him weapons? Is he a long-term option?
Oh, man, that's so hard with all the injury issues when you're a mobile quarterback. They got to get him somebody, right?
Have to.
You have to. Yeah, question. Let's say they don't bring any weapons. They don't bring in any weapons. They franchise tag him. Does he have an option to decline that franchise tag, or is he stuck? You all know?
I'm pretty sure you can decline the franchise tag, can't you?
Like, just say, I'm not going to play. You can tag me, but I'm not going to play, or just refuse to accept it. How does that work?
That's a very good question. I don't think that's ever been done before.
Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell did it, didn't he?
He may have.
When
actually.
the Steelers tried to franchise tag him 2 years in a row.
He may. I think he may have forced the trade of the Jets.
Yeah, I think that might be true. I don't know if they franchised him twice in a row, just because that's unheard of. I think Kirk Cousins is the only one to ever be franchise tagged twice.
You get paid the bag when you get tagged.
Paid the bag, but I mean, for a running back, especially during that time, that was like absurd money to franchise him twice, because it goes up like 30% or 40%, or it goes up a large amount. I know the second time around when you tag him, it's not just the average of the top 5 anymore. It's a nice chunk on top. But I mean, if you care about this man at all, you go and get him some weapons, right?
He's a mystery box to me. Next year in all dynasty leagues, are you trying to move Lamar if you have him in a dynasty league right now? Are you selling low just to get something?
I don't think you're selling low just because of the rushing ability that he brings, but we're falling heavily into like Army type offense where you're going to run the ball 60 times a game and pass it like 12, simply because they don't have any weapons. They have nothing there. It's Mark Andrews and no one else. He had a bad season. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Rashad Bateman was practically a non-factor through a lot of the season. He took off the first couple games when Lamar was scorching, but yeah, he got hurt and then came back. Wayne, what do you have?
If the franchise tag is offered, the player can refuse it. They won't be penalized for not playing, but they can't play for any other team. And Le'Veon Bell was in fact franchise tagged 2 times.
Oh wow!
And they tried to do it a third time. That's when he wanted.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's when he went in. That's when he was like, no, I went to the Jets. They actually franchise tagged him twice, though.
Wow.
2017, 2018.
That's fascinating because Goney's right. It's expensive. I think the thing about Lamar is when the Ravens fired Greg Roman, that's a sign to me Lamar's probably gone. I mean, Greg Roman orchestrated the entire offense around Lamar. I mean, that doesn't say fresh start. I don't know what does.
I mean, I don't know what their cap space looks like. I know that they're at least going to do the song and dance of like, we're doing everything we can to make a deal with Lamar and keep him here long term. But I just don't know. I don't know if they have the ability to go out and get an elite talent. They still have, guys on their defense who I'm sure need to get paid. J.K. Dobbins is, coming towards the end of his contract as well. He's going to get some money regardless of his injuries. I just don't know. I just feel like if you care about the offense of this franchise, you have to help them out and get someone, man. You can't have these guys. Devin Duvernay is not your guy. Rashad Bateman has shown he's not going to be your number one guy. It's just not going to work out. So, and I said going into the season, man, I didn't think they were going to bring any weapons in, and they traded Hollywood Brown to try and push his price down. And I believe it again. If they're going to franchise tag him, I think they're just going to set him up for failure. They're playing a game of poker here, and it's basically like Lamar is going to need to win them a Super Bowl with absolutely nothing for them to be like, all right, well, you got us. We have to pay him now. I think he's gone as well, Beggs. I kind of agree with you.
Yep.
Man. Number 8, Kyler Murray as our consensus 8 coming into the season. Wayne had him at 6. Beggs had him at 12. I had him at 8. He finished as the quarterback 19 on the season with an ADP in the 4th round, coming off the board as the QB 6. Kind of interesting season for Kyler. He had a lot of ups and downs, dealing with D-Hop suspension and fighting with Cliff Kingsbury on the sideline, as we've seen a couple times. He tore his ACL and his meniscus. Looking like he's probably not going to be ready for the 2023 season. He might even be out as long as midway through, is what I've been reading recently. He's also going to have a new coach since Cliff Kingsbury's been fired. It's going to be, a whole brand new offense that he's going to have to go through. The games he did play, he finished with 2,300 yards, 14 touchdowns in his 10 games, added another 400 yards on 3 touchdowns. 3 top 6 finishes, 2 outside the top 12. So it wasn't terrible. When he got D-Hop back, he kind of took off. He finished as the QB 10, QB 3, QB 8, QB 4. He was the 7th highest quarterback in terms of points per game. Guys, who's the front runner to be the head coach for Arizona? And with him possibly not returning until mid-season, where do you think he kind of falls for you in a redraft, and how do you feel about him in Dynasty?
Hold in Dynasty for sure, because like you said, I mean, when he played, he was a 7th-ranked quarterback. So, I mean, he's young. He's got plenty of time to get the injury bug out. I'm definitely fading him a little bit more because D-Hop's getting older. Not even sure if he's going to be there next year. And like you said, just too many question marks. He's immature. He's got to be babysat. He doesn't have that locker room. But he's got, he's got the talent to be a top 10 guy, but just all of the surrounding factors, I'm probably fading him out of the top 10.
I like Eric Bieniemy going in Arizona. I think they give him a shot. Arizona's been shown they're willing to take a chance on a young coach, unproven, and stick with them. But I'm with Wayne, man. I don't know what you do with Kyler. In a dynasty, would you all rather have Lamar or Kyler right now?
Man, in a dynasty, I think I'd rather have Lamar, which is kind of a lot coming from me. I recognize Lamar's talents, but I'm always skeptical of the man getting hurt just because he's a super freak athlete. He runs more than almost anyone in the league when he is healthy and playing a full season. And we're taking weapons away from Kyler. D-Hop probably won't be there. They're looking to trade him. I think that's the main goal coming up. Lamar's never had weapons, really. I mean, Hollywood Brown didn't really, take off for him necessarily. He showed flashes in Baltimore before he went to Arizona. I think if Lamar does end up either getting guys or going to a team that has some receivers, I think he could be dangerous. He's absolutely the guy that I would want. I'd probably try and trade out of Kyler if I'm in a dynasty personally, trading him all together in a redraft. I mean, obviously, unless you can get him in a super late round, but he's going to go. He's going to go. D-Hop went this year, I think, in the rounds 8 to 10. Somewhere in that range. Yeah. What do you think, Beggs? Would you rather have Kyler or Lamar?
I'd rather have Lamar. I'm a believer in the talent. I'm interested to hear Wayne on this one. I mean, Wayne is one of the bigger Kyler supporters that I know personally. I mean, Wayne, are you sticking with Kyler?
No, I think his situation is just getting worse. Lamar's situation, it can literally only go up. It can only go up from where he's at now. Whereas Kyler, had, coaching stability, the best hands in the NFL. Kyler's got plenty of room for his situation to get worse, whereas Lamar he's on rock bottom in his situation.
Yeah.
And they both, got an injury, so I mean, I don't even have that to lean on really.
Yeah.
I think what could help though, forget his name. What's his last name? Offensive coordinator for the Eagles, Shane something.
Um,
Steichen.
I don't know how you say it.
Steichen.
Steichen.
I can
Steichen.
almost guarantee you Steichen
Von
probably is the
Schnuzen.
right pronunciation, though.
Steichen, huh?
Shane something.
I mean,
Let's-
yeah,
let's
that's
see,
a good
let's
call,
see.
Wayne. He's going to be a
Actually, you're right. I mean, it's spelled like you said. It's spelled extra German. Steichen, I believe, is how it's pronounced.
Because he was around, I believe, when Justin Herbert had to be. He was just kind of thrown into the starting job, and he helped Justin Herbert have a successful season. He's with the Eagles now. He's helped develop Jalen Hurts, so he's got a good track record of developing young quarterbacks.
Yeah,
And I mean,
it's a good name.
maybe that's a decent hire for. I know he's not at the top of a lot of people's list, but I mean, you got to look at who you have in your organization and who you want to progress, and then hire accordingly. So I mean, we'll see.
Yep.
Last question for you guys, and I just want a number out of you. Kyler's finishes since he came into the league: QB6, QB3, QB10, QB19. I'm going to say, say he does get a good coach, and they somehow replace D-Hop with another weapon, another wide receiver one. What do you see Kyler's ceiling for his future?
Top 10.
Top 10?
I mean,
Can he
Yeah.
can he be top 5, Wayne? Top 6. I'll put it at top 6.
Not with the stable of young quarterbacks we have now that are probably going to be top 6. Like we can pretty much lock down the top 5 for the next 3 years, right?
Maybe,
I think-
unless Justin Fields goes ahead and hop in there.
stop it. I think 5 is his ceiling to me. I'm with Wayne.
Fair enough. I don't know if he gets back there. I'm gonna put him at like a QB 8. I think is his ceiling. I don't know. I just don't believe in him that much. QB 9 in our quarterback consensus rankings coming into the season. Another one, it looks like ravaged by injuries. We had Matt Stafford at the number 9.
Ouch.
Wayne had him at 10. Beggs had him at 9. I had him at 7. It hurts. He finished as the quarterback 32, gentlemen.
Every point matters.
With an ADP in the 9th round. ADP in the 9th round as the 12th quarterback off the board. He missed 8 games with a neck injury. There was rumors about his retirement. Cooper Kupp gets hurt for the year. It was rough, man. He had slightly over 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns in 9 games. No top 6 finishes. 1 finish inside the top 12. Only 2 games with multiple touchdown passes. He's going to be 35 next year. Is this a Super Bowl hangover? Is it something bigger? Sean McVay is going to be back. Stafford said he's going to be back as well. Will Stafford be in your top 12 next season, boys? And the way too early rankings.
Wow, stop!
No.
I hate these questions, but yeah, he'll be in the top 12. He'll be there.
He'll be in your
No.
top 12?
Yeah, but it's going to be back end.
That's fair. Top 12 is top 12. Wayne.
Nah, he ain't gonna be in mine. I haven't even
know.
researched it yet. And I already know he's not gonna be in mine.
That's what I'm saying. It's way early. Ravaged
Prelim-
by injuries.
Preliminary reports show he will be outside of my top 12.
Man, what you guys don't see if you're just listening on Spotify and aren't watching on YouTube is Wayne's got the magic 8 balls under his desk right now. That's how he answered the question.
Yep, that's how I answer all my
You'd
questions.
probably be right, though. Man, number 10, another ugly one, boys. Just buckle up, really, for the rest of them here on out. A lot of guys in the industry were pretty wrong on what they were talking about coming into the season, just because there were so many injuries this year at the quarterback spot. I think
I am so nervous because I'm pretty sure I had Dak Prescott listed very high, and I know that one's coming soon, and it's already giving me heartburn.
The rankings are close.
he's on the list. He's on the list for sure.
Hey, go on. Can I give a rankings update before we go over these last three?
We actually 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. We're going to go as far as 14, but yes, I would love an update.
Okay. Let's do a mid update because I know we need to finish these fast for the sake of the show. Gone, you're in the lead. Let's say you're 0. Okay.
Let's go.
I am 3 behind you, and Wayne is 6 behind you. So it's 0, 3, and 6. So it's pretty tight right now. What really hurt Wayne was I forgot which one it was. One of them really killed Wayne.
I have 2 that I know in my mind are really going to hurt me bad. Dak and Tua.
Let's see.
Yeah, but anyways,
I faded to it.
we'll
Dang,
see.
it gets worse.
It's about to get bad, man. Yeah,
All
it's
right,
about
let's
to
do
get real bad. Like I said, I think there was a record this year. Before I go into this 10th, real quick, I saw a record or graphics a couple times going into the last weeks of the season that this year, I think, tied the record all time for most starting quarterbacks in a year. It was like 48 or something absurd. 48, like 50 different starting quarterbacks. So with that being said, this guy didn't suffer because of injury. He just really sucked this year. Number 10 on our consensus rankings was Russell Wilson. Very, very limited. Wayne had him as the QB 11. Congratulations, Wayne. You're going to take it on this one. Beggs had him at the QB 10, and I had him at QB 9.
Let's go. Okay.
He finished as the QB 16 on the year. His ADP had him in the 7th round as the QB 9 coming off the board this season. He obviously failed to hit that. It was the worst fantasy season of his career. Finished with 3,500 yards and 16 passing touchdowns, the least touchdowns of his career. You're watching him literally all season. I know I didn't have him in any leagues, but I was just in shock and awe all year of how bad he was doing. You're watching him and like, oh, he's going to get better. He's Russell Wilson. Oh, he's going to get better. Let's give him a couple more games. And then he gave you like 1 or 2, and it inspired hope, and it was back to him being terrible. 4 games inside the top 6, including the final 2 games of the season where they, like Wayne said before, they were without Nathaniel Hackett. 2 of the only 4 games that he had inside the top 6 came without Hackett. He had 10 games outside the top 12, with 8 of them being the quarterback 21 or worse. If you played him, he absolutely crushed you. You most likely lost that week. Jerry Jeudy looks like he emerged as the wide receiver 1. They just brought in Sean Payton. So with that addition, the hope that we saw out of the way he finished the year, does he turn things around next year? What is your fantasy outlook on him, boys?
I
He
think
has to get better.
Yeah, I think he will probably crack my top 12.
Goni, quick. Stafford or Russell Wilson? Call it right now.
Russell Wilson.
Okay. Russell Wilson or Kyler? Call it right now.
Russell Wilson.
Wow. Okay, so you're higher on him than I am.
I am.
Okay.
I think Sean Payton really turns this team around. If it translates to wins, I don't know. Actually, if he plays better, if he scored 20 points a game this year, they are probably a playoff team.
Yeah. Wayne.
Straight up.
Dak Prescott or Russell Wilson? Quick.
Dak.
Okay. Goni?
Can we put a doink on that? I would love to doink you right now.
Ooh.
Russell Wilson versus Dak next season.
Oh.
No, he said answer quick.
Man, brutal.
I think that was going to be close. That's going to be a nail biter.
It probably will. I wanted to try and squeak one in. I ain't going to kill him over it.
Yeah.
So we see better things, though?
Yeah.
Coming
100%.
next year?
Have to.
Okay. I agree. Quarterback 11 on our consensus rankings coming into the season. Aaron Rodgers. Wayne had him at 12. Wayne also wins this one. Beggs had him at 11, and I had him at 10. He finished as the QB 13. His ADP was in the 10th round as the QB 13, so his ADP was right on the money with where he finished. It's the worst season Aaron Rodgers has ever had in his career without missing any football games. Finished with just a little under 3,700 yards and 26 touchdowns. He finished as a top 12 quarterback only one time all year against your beloved Dallas Cowboys. And he only scored 18 points that game. It's kind of gross. He didn't have a single game all year over 20 points. Terrible. He's going to be 40 next year. Going back to that, he only scored 20 points 0 times all year, and he finished as a QB 11. That's a testament to how injured the quarterback spot was. The sole fact that he played every game this year is what got him into the top 12. That's ugly. Yep. That's ugly. I think there's going to be a drastic shakeup next year. Yep. Green Bay is looking to move on from Rodgers. That's the current rumor right now in the NFL. They're looking to trade him. He's got one more year for $50 million. There's no way he retires and just doesn't play and turns down 50 mil. Who would do that? So we talked about it a little bit on our last show. Where's your ideal landing spot for him next year, and is he worth drafting late?
Man, Jets are the common team that I see, but he's gonna want to go. He's gonna want to go somewhere to win, right, Wayne? I mean,
Jets are solid, man. Why can't he win in New York?
It's not that he can't win in New York. It's just outside of Garrett Wilson, he does get Breece Hall, but it's a young team, and I feel like wily vets like him, they prefer to play with other veterans.
If he can link back up with Devontae Adams, I'm sure he would.
Does he, though? I was talking to Gone about that. Is there bad blood there?
I don't think so.
Okay. A team like Seattle is really interesting for Aaron Rodgers, I think. Would you rather get Aaron Rodgers for a season at $50 million, or would you rather give Geno Smith a 3-year contract and pay him Kirk Cousins?
Geno Smith.
Okay.
I'll take Geno Smith. He's less cancerous to the locker room. I feel like he's a hero. I feel like Geno Smith is a hero in Seattle, and I feel like the people of Seattle would rather have Geno Smith over Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the quarterback play that you got out of Geno Smith this year, he finished, I think, as like the QB 6. What more can Aaron Rodgers do, to take them any further? Is really my question to you guys. Like, I understand he's Aaron Rodgers, but with how Geno Smith just played this year, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career does much better.
He just doesn't.
I could be wrong.
He doesn't turn the ball over, right? He's traditionally very protective of the ball. That alone can win you a game or two, right? That's worth an extra win on your schedule.
I'd agree with that. That's fair to say.
I mean, it's really Jets, Colts, Raiders, right? Right now. I mean, that's the 3 potential spots.
So, all right, let's put it this way. If he lands in one of those spots, would you, in a redraft, obviously, go with a strategy? If you were doing this, take him as a late quarterback where you plan on starting him, because he went in the 10th round this year. He's going to go 10th round or later next year after this season, I think, regardless of where he lands. Would you take him to be your QB1 for a redraft next year if he lands on any of those spots?
No.
I think if he lands with the Raiders or Colts, I probably do.
I can't
do you feel good about it, though?
No, I feel gross about it.
I feel like that's one where you don't pick a quarterback until that 10th round, and then you immediately go back-to-backs. That's usually my strat whenever I wait that long. This year it was actually it was Tom Brady and Tua this year for one of the leagues I was in. So kind of worked out, kind of didn't, considering Tua missed some time, and I was stuck with Tom Brady. So
yeah,
each their own on that. Number 12, Dak Prescott is who we had here. Wayne had him at 8. Beggs had him at 13. I had him at 12. He finished as the quarterback 18. His ADP coming into the season was the 7th round as the 8th quarterback off the board. He missed 5 games with a broken hand early in the season.
5 games
2,800 yards. 23 touchdowns, though, but a career high 15 interceptions.
Trash.
He finished in the top 6 twice when he came back, including a QB1 finish against the Eagles in Week 16. 5 games outside the top 12. Beggs, I'll kind of let you speak on this being the resident Cowboys fan, but I felt it was pretty evident the Cowboys needed a second wide receiver along CD. Gallup's doesn't seem like he's the guy. Dak's under contract until 2026. Cowboys said they're committed to extending him.
No.
So
Lies.
how do you feel? Kellen Moore is out. He's gone to the Chargers. What? Give me the Cowboys fandom breakdown here on Dak.
Dak's trash, bro. He's terrible. Oh, look, here's what Dak is, man. He's a refined Trent Dilfer. If Dak has to throw the ball 30 times, you're not going to win that game. If Dak throws the ball 20 times, you're probably going to win the game. That's the way I see Dak. He's just a game manager. I mean, yeah, a second receiver helps, but with Dalton and Pollard and CeeDee Lamb and the way we prioritize the run game, I didn't think that was our main detriment. I don't know, man. He's trash. I'm not a fan.
Wayne, thoughts?
I feel like if he had played the whole season, I'd have been very close in my ranking. I mean, my man's missed 5 games and finished as a QB 18?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm okay with my ranking. They'll snag somebody else to play with them, and I don't know. Hopefully pivot more towards a Tony Pollard focus because Zeke is boo boo.
Worst.
I think it's fine. I still think he's top 12 because he would have been this year if he was healthy.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that had he finished, if he played all the games, didn't break his hand, didn't miss the 5 games, I think he's in the top 12 for sure. Like I mentioned, not long ago, there was a ton of injuries this year. So it I don't really feel too bad about missing on some of these where we had them ranked because all of them outside of, Aaron Rodgers. Actually, we were close on Aaron Rodgers. So really all these guys that we missed on that we've gone over, they were hurt, man. Everyone was hurt this year. So it was kind of a crapshoot. You were kind of lucky if you had a quarterback that made it through the whole season.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. We had 2 dark horses we're going to get through. Honorable mentions coming into the season. They were just on the cusp of making our top 12. Number 13. These are still counting for our rankings, by the way.
Oh, of course they are.
Keep on adding, brother man.
Here we
Keep
go.
on adding.
Here it is.
Number
The Goni
13.
twist.
Number 13 was Derek Carr. Wayne had him at 13. Beggs loved this man coming into the year. You thought he was the second coming of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, what have you, with Devontae Adams coming to town. I also had him ranked at the 13.
What
He
did I
finished
have
as a
ranked
QB
at?
17. You
What
had
did
him
I
at 8.
Ooh.
At 8. So +5. Go ahead and add a +5 to you, sir. He finished as a QB 17, his ADP 11th round as the QB 17 coming off the board. So he finished where his ADP was. He got benched for the final 2 games, as we know. He left the team completely. He said goodbye to the organization on social media. That man's planning to be gone. He finished with 3,500 yards, 24 touchdowns, and a career high tying 14 picks. His team went 6-11. He's not that dude. He puts up okay numbers as far as yardage goes, but he's never been a touchdown guy. I don't know how many times coming into the season I exclaimed the fact that he had thrown over 30 touchdowns once in his career.
I don't remember you saying that once.
Yeah, I know, man. And the Bills wouldn't outscore the Raiders either. He finished outside the top 12 8 times. 8 times. That's terrible. QB 25, QB 27, QB 28, QB 29. Baker Mayfield put up better numbers than those. It's bad. It's just terrible. So
There's
the
some
Raiders cut
franchise
him-
out there that's about to sign him, and the entire fan base is going to give a collective
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Where do you
know-
think he goes, and what's his fantasy impact next year?
But probably the Buccaneers because that's my luck.
Oh no!
Brutal. No way. No way the Bucks do that. No way.
Dude, sometimes the Bucks front office just eats boogers, dude.
No way. He has Colts written all over, man. Just hand the ball off, throw it 20 times a game, be done with it. He has the
I could
Colts
see.
written all over him.
I could see more of the Bucks, and I'd really like to see Wayne lead that collective. Just moan essentially that of the prized quarterback he's getting.
See, Mad Mob, bad guy.
Yeah, I'm a bad guy sometimes. Number 14, our last one. We get to shore up our rankings here and crown a quarterback king for 2022. It was Kirk Cousins. Wayne had him at 15. Beggs and I both had him at 14. He finished as the QB6. This man balled out. His ADP coming into the year, he was the steal of the draft from the quarterback position. It was the 14th round as the 21st quarterback coming off the board. He had a great season, led the Vikings to a 13-4 record, as you guys all know. Another testament to how hurt the league was, he only scored 3 points more than he did last year, where he finished as the QB 11. So QB 11 last year, he scores 3 more points than that, and he's the QB 6 this year. That's how much he rose in the end game rankings. Threw for 4,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 picks, 4 games inside the top 6. He finished as high as QB3 once. He had 8 games outside the top 12, 4 of which were QB21 or worse. So he won you some weeks, he lost you some weeks. He's got 1 more year on his deal. He's going into the final year of his contract. It's unclear whether or not the Vikings plan on extending him. He's shown zero ability, gentlemen, to have postseason success. I'm pretty sure it's because the spotlight is on him. He's been known to be a primetime dud. Justin Jefferson coming back, Dalvin Cook aging another year. They kind of shifted away from the run game more to Justin Jefferson being the focal point in the offense this year. With all that being said, what are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins going into next year?
Wayne, I've got a question for you. Geno Smith or Kirk Cousins next year?
Gino.
Wow. Goni, are you in agreement?
Oof, that's a rough one. That's a very rough one.
I'm going to take Kirk.
Asking that
and I'd
right
be
now.
willing to doink it.
I'll take it.
You would say Captain Kirk?
I'll take Kirk.
I'll take it.
Can we get a double
Geno.
doink on this one? I'll take Geno as well.
No double doink.
Oh, all right. He called it first. So it's his doink. Better fantasy season. Of course, we had the injury provisions this year where they have to be 3 games within each other, or
Hey, I hope
it'll
they
be
don't
null
sign
and
him.
void.
I hope they don't sign him and Geno goes out to Carolina. Get out of here, Geno.
Hey, I hope the Vikings get all the primetime games.
I hope Geno.
I mean, they went 13-4. Imagine he's got like 4 Monday nighters, 4 Sunday nighters, and 3 Thursday nighters.
Yeah,
Bro.
it's
Man,
it's
they'll have
auto
the
dub.
number 1 pick. Yeah, they'll have the number 1 pick next year if that's the case.
I need Geno to get fat, happy, and just walk around in a bathrobe everywhere after he gets the money this offseason. Man, that's a good doink, Wayne. We're going to forget about it, and we're going to come back with a fiery, hot passion mid-season with this one.
Yes, we are. I feel like it's not going to be close. You're going to win by a landslide, or I'm going to win by a landslide.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's true. It does feel like a down season for Kirk Cousins is due. He's getting a little old. He's been surprisingly good. He's due.
He's made his money. He's done his thing.
Yeah.
Beggs, where do we stand? What are the rankings? And who is this year's quarterback king for 2022 amongst the Mad Mob?
In last place is Wayne. He was 7 points off the leader. Second place is me. I was 4 points off the leader. Derek Carr killed me in more ways than one this year. I played on my flag, and my flag blew over, and Goni is the quarterback king. That's why he wanted to play, Wayne. You were right.
I told you. I called it before the episode even started when he said, we're going to play a game. Who did the best?
You smelled it.
Man.
He's a bad guy.
Well,
I knew it from the jump.
See, here's the thing.
Quarterback rankings.
Goni berates me all the time because I don't plant my flag. I have to see it to believe it. Clearly, I planted a flag on Derek Carr this season. So everything he said is absolute malarkey. It's a horse, a crock. I lost.
See,
I paid the price for planting a flag.
But Wayne and I, just speaking of our when we do the show again next year, I'm already excited because Wayne and I have a leg up on you because there's no way. I know you. We've talked about it 100 times and we'll talk about it 100 more. There's no way you're putting Justin Fields in your top 12, right?
I don't think I can. I don't see how I can.
3 points, Wayne. 3 points. Can I make a doink with you that he finishes inside the top 10?
No more Fields doinks for me.
You learned your lesson, but you haven't learned your lesson. It's so confusing, man.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I want to see what happens in the off season, and then we'll see. We'll see.
I guess that's it. All right. There you have it, Mad Mob. This is our review on the 2022 quarterback consensus rankings. We're going to hit you guys with a Q&A on Monday. We'll be back next week also on Friday. We're going through our running back 1 through 12. And then shortly after, 13 through 24, we'll crown champions until we get there. Send in your questions. Hit us up on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you see fit. Mad Mob out.